Okay guys, for today's workout we're going to be doing a full body workout. We're going to be using supersets and giant sets. So for supersets we're going to be pairing some upper body and lower body exercises, and then we're going to use other supersets where we just use two lower body or two upper body. And then the giant sets is like one long set, so you're going to have a target reps, so it could be 50 reps, and you're just going to go do as many sets as needed till you get that 50 reps. So this workout is pretty tough. Let's get going.
So the first exercise is wide stance goblet squats. So we're just going with foot position out a small bit wider than you usually would. So just outside shoulder width, toes turned out, and then hips back, knees out, control the way down, drive up. So make sure you're putting the pressure here on the outside of your feet so you can really concentrate on getting your knees out and you're not having to bend at the lower back. So we're doing these a small bit faster than we usually would just because we're doing higher reps. So we're doing 15 to 25. Just keep control of the weight, that you're not bouncing out of the bottom. And then really think of breathing each time, squeezing the glutes at the top. So keep your elbows tucked in. So you want to make sure that the elbows are coming in so the knees can go outside the elbows. And you see here the back is staying straight, and that's what, especially when you put the pressure on the outside of your feet and you drive the knees out, you're going to be able to sit down into that hole. So from that we're moving on to front foot elevated split squats. So we have 15 to 20 reps on each side. So for this, what you want to do is have your front foot elevated on a step or anything in front, anything you have available, just to lift up the front leg. And then you're dropping the back knee down, letting the front knee travel forward, and then driving through the heel. So you see here, we're not fully coming up, so just kind of 3/4 of the way, that you're not fully locking out the knee at the top. This is going to just keep a bit more tension on the quads and the legs. So 15 to 20 on each side. Just make sure here when you're doing this that you're not letting the weight go into the front of your foot. You're keeping it through the heel. We don't want too much pressure going on the knee joint. So keeping it through the heel is going to keep the pressure away from your knee joint. And you see here, when I come down, the hamstring and calf nearly touch each other. So that's really what you want to aim to do, especially by dropping the back knee down. So same here, the tempo is a small bit faster, but it's 15 to 20 on each side, so it's high reps. So these are going to burn. So when you're doing it, really concentrate on it's more of a forward and backward movement than just straight up and down. So we have 3 sets on each. Then we're moving into dumbbell hip thrusts. And what we're doing here is we're going for 50 reps, and we're going to try and do them in as little sets as you need. So with the giant set, we're just aiming for this rep target. So 50 reps is the target. You take breaks as needed. Apologies in advance, this really burns, as you'll see by my face. So with the hip thrust, really think of keeping the weight in the heels. You're not rocking back and forward, just keep the feet planted. Think of squeezing each time, knees out. Keep the chin tucked down, core tight, tucking the hips underneath. So the upper back is just elevated on a step, or you can use a couch, whatever you need. So we're doing 50 reps total. Then we're moving into press ups. So you're going to go with a step underneath your knees here. What this is going to do, it kind of simulates more of a real press up compared to just being on your knees. So we're going for three sets of 10 to 15. What you do here is the more of your knees, the further back that you go, the harder it's going to be. So if you move the step back towards your feet, it's going to be harder. If you move it up towards your hips, it'll be easier. It just takes more of the weight. So we're going 10 to 15 reps, nice and controlled on the way back. Think of elbows coming back, kind of 30 to 45 degree angle. Control the way down, push the hands through the ground. Make sure when you set up that your wrist, elbow, shoulder should be in a straight line underneath the shoulder. Nice controlled movement. So we're pairing that with a 1-arm row. So use a chair or anything you need to balance the opposite hand. You're sitting back, have the hips, really push the hips back. You should feel tension on your hamstrings. Keep the back straight, and then you're pulling through the shoulder blade, driving the elbow down towards the spine. So it's really important here that you get your setup and your position right first, and you're keeping that back straight and the chest up. So your chest will want to drop as you're doing this exercise. So it's really important just to remind yourself to keep sticking that chest up nice and high, pulling through the shoulder blade, backing down towards the hip. So we're going 10 to 15 on each side. So take your time setting this up and really think of it's a forward and back movement, not up and down. So we really want to pull the shoulder blade back and down, pulling the elbow towards the hip, keep the elbow tucked in. So when you do this, your elbow will want to flare out a lot. So really think of tucking it in by your side. And as you get tired, you won't be able to pull back as far, but you'll still feel that stretching and squeeze in the back. So 10 to 15 reps on each side, and we're doing 3 sets with the press ups. So we're moving into lateral raises now. So you're going to have chest up, shoulders pinned back, and then you're just lifting away from your body. So think of elbows out as far as you can, just coming up to shoulder height, and control the way down so you're not letting it hit at the bottom. So we're going for 50 reps total here. So this is going to burn. Apologies, but what you can do here, take small breaks in between as needed, especially when you get tired doing these. What happens is your upper back and your upper back and neck will want to shrug upwards. So don't let that happen. If you do feel it happen, just take a couple of seconds, shrug out the shoulders, set the shoulders again. So really think of lifting outwards, not upwards. And as you do get tired, you might be able to come up as high, but don't worry about that. Just think of controlling the way down. Even it's gonna feel like literally you can't move at all, especially with the short rest and trying to do 50 total reps. So next we're moving on to a tri-set. So we have 3 exercises. So first one is kettlebell or dumbbell swings. We're going 20 to 30 reps. So hips back, knees out. So this, and then just drive the hips through, squeeze the glutes. So with this movement, it's very important you move from the hip and not the knee. So you're keeping the knees soft, so they're not fully straight, but you're moving back and forward through the hip, not letting the knees move. That's going to keep your back straight and really keep tension on your hamstrings and glutes throughout the movement. So as you sit back, you should feel a small stretch on your hamstring, and then you drive forward, squeeze your glutes. Keep the feet outside shoulder width. Think of knees out, toes turned outwards. Drive the hips through. From that, we're moving on to side bends or to a core exercise. So with this, you're going to have your feet straight, feet out wide, toes turned out. So you're not moving. The legs are staying locked. And then you're going to have dumbbell in one hand or kettlebell, and then the opposite hand goes behind your ear, and you're keeping that elbow up nice and high. So think here of bending at the hips. So it's all at the hip, and then you're sliding the dumbbell down slightly behind your leg. And one thing is try not to let it touch off you. So this is just going to make it harder. And control the way down, big stretch, and then drive up. So we're going 10 to 15 reps on each side here. So hand behind the ear, keep that elbow back So the elbow is going to want to move forward as well. So try to keep that back in line with your wrist. And you'll feel as you do this, you might be very tight starting off. You might be able to move too much. And then as your hips loosen out, you'll feel that you get much more, they'll loosen out and get much more of a stretch. Don't forget to breathe as well on this exercise. A lot of people tend to hold their breath. So nice small breaths control the core each time. So from this, we're moving into a upper body exercise. So we've done a lower body and we've done a core exercise, and now we're going to upper body. So we're going to do a close grip floor press. So you're going to be lying flat on your back and dumbbells in the hand. What you want to do here is keep your elbows tucked in by your side. So usually when we do a press, the elbows will be out a bit. This one, you're keeping them tucked right in by your side and then driving through the ground, press straight up then. 15 to 20 reps here. Think of keeping your chest up and you're pinning your shoulders back into the ground. You can have you can arch the lower back here as we're not putting pressure on it, and it will just help to really pin your shoulder blades back and through the floor. So this type of press is more for the back of your arms, so your triceps, you're going to feel it a bit more, and that's why we're keeping the elbows tucked in. Don't forget to breathe as well. Control the way down. Pause off the ground and then drive up. 15 to 20 reps.